Have you ever noticed something strange? The more you open up to a woman, the quicker she forgets you. The more honest you are, the faster she calls you brother. You try to bond, to show depth, but she labels you wise, then runs after a man who barely notices her. Is that love? No, it's a game. And you've been playing without knowing the rules. Women don't just listen to words, they read posture, they feel energy. They sense intent. You think making her feel like a queen will win her. But here's the brutal truth. Women fight to feel special. If you hand her the crown with no effort, she'll toss it aside, and you with it. If she's already the center of your world, you've already lost status in hers. Never forget this. Strong relationships aren't built with over-talking. They're built with presence, mystery, and control. It's not about talking more, it's about mastering how and when you speak. In this video, you'll learn the dark psychology inspired by Niccolo Machiavelli, a truth most men were never taught. Talking to women isn't about charm, it's about psychological control, strategic silence, and emotional mastery. These 5 deadly conversational arts won't just help you attract women, they'll help you leave a mark that lingers in her mind long after you leave, because once you understand this, you stop getting rejected, you stop getting ignored, you become rare, mysterious, irreplaceable. Machiavelli once said, "Reveal nothing of your full self if you want to be respected." Women crave attention, emotion, and certainty, but give it all to them up front and they'll grow bored. That's the cold truth. They don't want a man they fully understand. They want a man they can't quite figure out. A man who has presence, power, and doesn't need them. And now it's time to learn what no school, book, or dating coach ever taught. The 5 deadly arts of conversation. Not just words, but strategy, psychology, and dominance. Art 1. The power of silence, extended with Machiavellian insight. In a world addicted to noise, silence is unsettling. Most people feel an overwhelming need to fill every empty space in conversation with chatter, laughter, or quick replies. But silence, true, intentional silence, is not a lack of words. It's a presence. And in the art of influence, few tools are as powerful or as overlooked. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. In The Prince, he wrote that those who command attention do so not with constant speaking, but with calculated restraint. Because when you speak less, others are forced to interpret your silence, and in that space of uncertainty, power is born. Most men, when speaking to women, believe that talking more means connecting more. They rush to respond, eager to seem attentive, likable, or witty. They over-explain, over-laugh, and overshare. But in doing so, they expose everything and weaken their position. Women are naturally intuitive. They don't just hear your words. They sense your intent, your energy, and your level of control. If your mouth is constantly moving, you're revealing desperation for approval, signaling that you value being heard more than being understood. And Machiavelli would say that revealing too much of yourself gives the other person too much leverage. A man who cannot restrain his words cannot command respect. Now imagine the opposite. You speak rarely, but when you do, your words carry weight. You pause before answering. You let silence hang. You observe her not with desperation, but with calm authority. Suddenly you become the enigma. Now she's the one who feels exposed. She starts to wonder, did he like what I said? Why didn't he respond quickly? Is he judging me? Did I lose his interest? That flicker of doubt, that subtle tension, it's not a weakness, it's intrigue. And it creates psychological gravity. You occupy space in her mind even when you're no longer around. Machiavelli taught that those who seek to lead must learn to create mystery and project strength without revealing their full hand. This is exactly what silence accomplishes. It is the language of those who lead, the unspoken signal that you are not easily impressed, not desperate to be accepted, and certainly not emotionally unstable. When used correctly, your silence becomes her obsession. The less she knows, the more she imagines, and the more she imagines, the more control you gain, not by force, but by absence. In truth, silence is not emptiness. It is a test of emotional discipline, of psychological awareness, and of social power. The man who can sit in silence and watch others fumble to fill it is not awkward, he is dominant. And in the dynamic between masculine power and feminine energy, that kind of restraint signals security, strength, and danger. The very ingredients that stir deep attraction in the female psyche. So the next time you're speaking with a woman, or anyone for that matter, don't rush to fill the space. Let your silence stretch. Let them come to you. Say less, mean more. Speak last and speak slow. Because those who master silence aren't just remembered, they're studied. And that is where the game begins. Art 2, controlled curiosity, extended with Machiavellian insight. Everyone craves the feeling of being seen, heard, and understood. It's human nature. We all long for someone who gets us, someone who listens beyond the words and touches the emotional core. But in conversation, especially with women, there's a razor-thin line between genuine interest and neediness. Ask too many questions too soon, and you no longer appear intriguing, you appear desperate. And nothing repels more powerfully than a man who appears to be seeking approval or validation under the guise of curiosity. Machiavelli, the master of human dynamics, would advise you to approach connection like a strategist, not a servant. A Machiavellian mind does not reveal fascination quickly or freely. It holds curiosity like a knife behind its back, revealed only when it serves a purpose. Your goal isn't just to understand her, it's to position yourself as a rare mind she cannot categorize. You must remain a mystery, even as you unlock parts of her. That tension of you diving into her world while keeping yours guarded is what ignites fascination. Controlled curiosity means asking better questions, not more of them. Surface-level flattery and predictable inquiries make you seem common, but subtle, psychologically loaded questions create depth. Instead of asking, "What do you do?" or "What's your favorite movie?" say something like, "You seem to connect quickly with people, but is it real depth or just surface bonding?" A question like that is not just intriguing, it's slightly unsettling. It challenges her to reflect, to feel seen in a way most people never notice. It breaks the pattern of predictable male behavior. And suddenly, you're not just another man asking questions, you're a man who stirs something deeper inside her. This form of psychological pressure, when delivered with calm and emotional detachment, creates an unforgettable experience. Why? Because she doesn't just feel noticed, she feels penetrated emotionally. And as Machiavelli would say, emotional influence is stronger than logical agreement. People don't follow those who flatter them. They follow those who challenge them and make them feel more complex than they believed they were. That's the power you want to wield. But be careful. The key is balance. Controlled curiosity is never overbearing. It's subtle. You give her just enough to feel examined but not judged. You let her speak, then you reflect back something deeper than what she said, something she didn't expect you to pick up on. You become, in her mind, a kind of mirror, but not a mirror that reflects, one that reveals, and that to her is irresistible. When done right, this art makes you a psychological presence. Not just a man she talks to, but a mind she feels. She may not be able to explain it, but something about you will haunt her thoughts, because you didn't just listen, you uncovered. And you didn't just uncover her, you made her realize you're not someone easily understood. In Machiavellian terms, curiosity should always be tactical. You ask not to please, but to position. You listen, not to obey, but to observe. And by doing so, you turn the conversation into a game of power, one where you always remain one question ahead. That's the secret of controlled curiosity. And that's how you become unforgettable. Art 3. Cold charm, extended with Machiavellian insight. Charm is a weapon, but only when used with precision. Most men mistake charm for constant praise, overwhelming attention, and sugary compliments. But that kind of affection, when handed out freely, is quickly devalued. As Machiavelli famously warned, give kindness only when it has weight. Why? Because when you give something too often, it becomes expected. When it becomes expected, it loses power. The same rule applies to charm. Constant compliments make you predictable, and predictability is the death of desire. To truly captivate a woman, you must weaponize warmth. Praise should be rare, unexpected, and delivered with precision timing. It should feel like a reward, not a habit. The key to cold charm is contrast. You maintain an aura of calm detachment, perhaps even distant indifference. You don't flatter, you don't overreact, you're composed, controlled. Then, when the moment is right, you drop a line that slices through her defenses like a blade wrapped in velvet. Imagine she's quiet, reflective, maybe even a little unsure of herself. You look at her directly, calmly, and say, "There's something dangerously beautiful about your silence." Then stop. Say nothing else. Let the words settle in the space between you. Let the silence that follows echo with tension. In that moment, her body reacts before her mind does. Her heart rate changes, her breath slows. She feels something she didn't expect from you: depth, unpredictability, danger. And that's the point. This technique draws directly from Machiavellian thinking. Create moments of power through scarcity and precision. You are not offering kindness because you're seeking affection. You're offering it because you chose to, and that choice came from a position of strength. When your compliments are rare and meaningful, they strike harder. She starts to chase more of that feeling, wondering when you'll reveal it again. The irony? The less you give, the more she desires it. But cold charm isn't just about compliments. It's about demeanor. A man who uses cold charm well is unbothered, observant, and slightly emotionally removed. He smiles, but not often. He flirts, but only with undertones of control. His words are layered, calculated. He makes her feel something, but never gives her full clarity on what he's feeling. That mystery creates tension. That tension becomes attraction. Remember, warmth without boundaries makes you forgettable. Charm without contrast makes you weak. But cold charm, that's the sweet poison. It gets under her skin, lingers in her mind, and shifts the power dynamic in your favor. Machiavelli knew that the most effective rulers weren't the ones who gave the most. They were the ones who gave sparingly and strategically, making every gesture feel like a privilege. So let your kindness be rare. Let your compliments be sharp. Let your charm confuse her, not comfort her. Because the man she can't fully understand, he's the man she can't forget. Art 4, Psycho-mirroring, extended with Machiavellian insight. Psycho-mirroring is not about copying. It's about tuning in without being tuned out. It is the subtle art of psychological alignment, where you reflect her energy, tone, and pace just enough to make her feel understood without ever losing your own composure. This is not mimicry. It's not about parroting her behavior or trying to fit in. No, this is far more sophisticated. This is emotional chess. This is where you become what she's comfortable with without ever surrendering your own identity. In the writings of Machiavelli, particularly in The Prince, He emphasizes the power of understanding human nature, not for empathy, but for manipulation. The prince who observes carefully can rule more effectively than the one who rushes to speak. In this same spirit, psycho-mirroring allows you to make a woman feel emotionally seen, not because you are bearing your soul, but because you are watching hers like a hawk watches its prey. The key is to remain emotionally neutral. You're not emotionally investing, you are analyzing. You are reading her like a strategist preparing for war. When she speaks with excitement, you raise your energy slightly, not too much. When she speaks softly, you lower your tone to match. If she uses emotional language, you echo her sentiment, not to validate, but to reflect. Over time, her subconscious begins to register something primal. This person understands me. And that creates trust, not the kind that comes from years of knowing someone, but the kind that comes from the illusion of deep emotional alignment. And illusion, as Machiavelli knew, is often more powerful than reality. But the true brilliance of this tactic lies in your detachment. You don't do this to please her, you do this to gain access. You're not reacting out of emotion, but responding with calculated intent. Every emotional beat she gives you is a breadcrumb, leading you deeper into her psyche. Most men try to win women over by revealing themselves. They spill their fears, their dreams, their stories. You, however, do the opposite. You reveal nothing. Instead, you make her reveal everything, by simply becoming the mirror she craves to see herself in. The subtle power of psycho-mirroring lies in how invisible it is. If done well, she never notices what you're doing. She simply feels it. She feels safe. She feels connected. But most of all, she feels seen. And once a woman feels that level of subconscious resonance, she starts to emotionally attach, even if she doesn't understand why. That confusion creates vulnerability. And vulnerability, in the Machiavellian game of power and attraction, gives you the upper hand. So remember, you're not imitating, you're decoding, you're not chasing rapport, you're building leverage. Your calm presence becomes a psychological canvas onto which she projects familiarity and connection. But you remain controlled, unreadable, and emotionally distant, yet somehow always in sync. This is not a game of hearts, it's a game of minds, and the man who can reflect emotions without becoming consumed by them, he doesn't fall in love, he becomes the one she can't stop thinking about. Art 5. The push-pull dance, extended with Machiavellian insight. This is the most dangerous of all the conversational arts, because it plays with the rawest, most primal human emotion, confusion. The push-pull dance is not about being hot and cold randomly, it's about deliberately walking the fine line between connection and detachment. It is chaos cloaked in charm, unpredictability disguised as intimacy. And when executed with precision, it doesn't just attract a woman, it consumes her thoughts. Most men operate in extremes. They're either too available or too distant, too emotional or too indifferent. They give everything up front or build walls too high to climb. But the master strategist, the Machiavellian man, understands that true control comes not from choosing one extreme, but from dancing between both. One day, you give her attention, you're engaged, present, warm. You listen deeply, laugh with her, flirt effortlessly. She begins to feel safe, like she's earned your focus. But then without warning, you pull back. You don't reply as fast. Your energy shifts. You're present, but emotionally untouchable. And now, she's unsettled. She starts to question the connection she thought she had. This is not cruelty. It's strategy. Machiavelli taught that to maintain influence, a leader must never allow others to feel completely secure in their position. Certainty creates complacency, but uncertainty, that creates obsession. When a woman doesn't know exactly where she stands with you, she becomes emotionally activated. Her mind replays every moment. Did I say something wrong? Was he disappointed? Does he still want me? This self-inflicted questioning is not something you force upon her. It's something you induce through your rhythm, your control, your silence. And here's the twist. The push must never feel like punishment, and the pull must never feel like pleading. It's all about emotional finesse. When you compliment her one day, dismiss her teasingly the next. When you show deep interest, follow it up with brief detachment. This unpredictable emotional rhythm triggers something deep within her biology, a survival instinct that interprets inconsistency as value. She begins to chase the highs again. She seeks your approval, craves your attention, and fears your distance. You become the reward she can't quite secure. Machiavelli didn't teach love, he taught control. He taught that the throne of the heart belongs not to the one who gives the most, but to the one who understands desire. And desire does not grow in stability, it grows in emotional motion. Push-pull is the art of engineering that motion, of turning predictability into mystery and mystery into magnetism. But don't mistake this for manipulation. This is not about playing games for ego. This is about becoming a man who understands the emotional landscape and knows how to navigate it with power. It's about learning when to lean in and when to step back, when to open and when to close. And above all, it's about not needing her validation to stay centered in your own power. Because the man who can create emotional impact without saying much, he's unforgettable. And the one who can walk away without a second glance, he's irreplaceable. Talking is not a performance. It's not for approval. It's a weapon, a sharp, deliberate weapon used not to harm, but to command. Most men waste their words trying to impress. Kings use words to rule. Every sentence, every pause, every shift in energy is calculated. Because when you control how she feels, you control how she sees you. People may forget your face, they may forget your name, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. So make her feel everything, then disappear. Because your silence after intensity is more powerful than 1,000 compliments. And if this message hits something deep inside you, don't ignore it. Keep it alive. Like, comment, return.